Lane preference is a couple of different things in the TMS. It's either for your carrier lane preferences, the lanes that a carrier likes to run. And on the customer side, it's the carriers that they prefer to use on those lanes. So if I'm a carrier, I want to be sure to tell the brokers that I'm working with, hey, if you ever have loads on this lane, be sure to get in touch with me. We love those lanes. We've got guys moving that all the time. And being able to track that in the system is really important to furthering that carrier relationship and making sure you're meeting carriers where they want to be. And on the customer side, the same concept applies to telling your broker who you like to work with on certain lanes. So if I've worked with Liam's Trucking in the past and they provide a great service, which we always do, then you want to be sure that in the future when that same lane comes up, instead of saying, hey, by the way, are those Liam's Trucking guys around? That record's in the system. So without even having to ask who you like to use, I have that information as a broker and I can make sure you are even more satisfied as a customer because I'm using these guys you really like. It sort of happens in two places. Internally, like I said, you want to capture that information so you can use it in places like the Find Carriers tab or Carrier Match, where you're looking for capacity on a load. It helps you to answer that question, who should I book here? If you have a really big carrier network, it can be hard to kind of find the right fit for a given lane. And this really helps you to not only identify the carriers who like to run that lane, but also who the customer likes. So you're narrowing down that list a little more. And in the portal, as a customer, you can tell your broker who you like to work with, saving that extra step instead of having to call and say, by the way, in the future, use Liam's Trucking. You can enter that yourself. And on the carrier side, you can do the same thing. In the portal, tell us the lanes you like to run and we'll reach out when we get loads on those lanes. I hope this one is a clear evidence that we listen to our customers, because this is one that we've heard from customers in the past who have said that the sourcing information, the carrier sourcing abilities of Revenova has been limited. And we listen, we absolutely are all ears when it comes to feedback like that. So we took it internally as a product team and said, how can we start to combine these concepts of the TMS and your CRM with carrier sourcing? And so what we came up with was a way to capture more data on who your carriers and customers prefer. It all comes down to preference. It all comes down to that customer data, that relationship management. And so this feature, I hope, shows customers that we listen because we're tracking that data and you can use it where you need it in the TMS. Right now, we're just focused on capturing that information. We've got a lot of easy ways to get that information saved and recorded in the TMS. You can do it in the portal, like I said, on the customer or carrier side, and you can build them internally in the TMS. It also connects to truck postings. So if you have posted trucks and the carrier says, by the way, I tend to have a guy on this lane all the time, instead of having to create a recurring truck posting, if maybe the capacity is not as concrete as that, you can simply click a button and create a lane preference. And now instead of saying, I have a guy, now you're saying, I might have a guy in that area, but reach out to me and check. So it integrates with our truck postings really well. And the other thing is, we're in the future going to connect to some of the software partners that are out there that are also capturing this information to try to merge all those databases, because we have partners out there that do a really good job of tracking where carriers are the best fit, which lanes. And in the future down the road, we hope to integrate that and bring those records into the system to create lane preferences.